forgotten, in a land not known, there lived a farmer, an old farmer, and he lived in a little cottage. We all know what little cottage I'm talking about. It's that quaint thing on that high hill. And looking from that high hill, we can see the land in its different shades of green, all knitted together like patchwork. And in the distance, we can see that dark, dark forest. Now, the old farmer, he lived with his wife and his 3 sons, and he accumulated a rather large debt. But he had 3 sons, so he decided to use them. He called to him his first son. Now, his first son would puff out his chest. He would walk with a swagger, and he would often inspect his biceps. He told him he must go to the forest, chop down trees for firewood, so they may pay off the debt. It took him a lot of convincing, but in the end, with that axe slung over his shoulder, he marched down that road. He got to the first tree he could see, and with his axe in hand, he chopped, and he chopped, and he chopped. When behind him, he heard the most terrible voice. "Oh!" And the lad turned his head in a state of fright, when before him he saw the most fearsome sight, a giant troll, with its knuckles grazing on the ground, its eyes of blood red, and its tusks long and proud. "If you're chopping trees in my forest, I'm gonna kill you!" And with his axe in hand, the boy turned to the troll and said, "Ah!" And he ran up that road as fast as he could, not bringing back any firewood. Well, he got to his father, and he told him all about the troll. His father replied, "You chicken! I was never afraid of trolls when I was a lad." Well, he called to him his second son. Now, his second son would keep a mirror in that sleeve, and a comb in that one. And often he would gaze at himself. His father told him he needed to go to that forest and chop down trees for firewood. Well, he wasn't too happy about that. "Oh, Dad, I can't go there. My hair is in such a state." Well, it took him a lot of convincing. But in the end, with his axe slung over his shoulder, his mirror tucked under his armpit and his comb in the other hand, he made his way down the road. He got to the first tree he could see, and with his axe in hand, he thud! Oh! Right! And with his axe in hand, he chopped, and he chopped, and he chopped. When behind him, he heard a most terrible voice. Whose voice do you think it could have been? The troll! Indeed, it was the troll's voice, and it said, "Oi!" And the lad turned his head in a state of fright, when before him he saw a most fearsome sight, the ugliest troll he could have ever seen, its teeth sharp and yellow, and its skin of snot green. "If you're chopping trees in my forest, I'm gonna kill you!" And with his axe in hand, the boy turned to that troll and said, "Ah!" And he ran up the road as fast as he could, not bringing back any firewood. Well, he told his father all about the troll, and his father said, "You cap chicken! I was never afraid of trolls when I was a lad." Well, the third son, Jack, he came to his father and he said, "Don't worry, Dad, I'm going to sort this out." His elder brother started to laugh at him because, well, Jack, he wasn't the tallest of lads. He was actually quite squat and a little plump in the midsection. But he could have said quite a few things to his brother. He didn't. He rose above it. He simply went to his mother. He asked her for a big lunch. She curdled him some cheese, wrapped it in a knapsack, and with that over one shoulder and the axe in the other, Jack hit the road. And when he came to that first tree with his axe in his hand, he chopped and he chopped and he chopped. When behind him, he heard the most terrible voice. Whose voice do you think it could have been? Indeed, it was the troll's, and it said, "Oi!" And Jack turned his head in a state of fright, when before him he saw the most fearsome sight, a troll the foulest thing he'd ever smelt. But Jack had a few tricks in his belt. Well, it was his knapsack, actually, because he remembered the cheese, and he picked it up as fast as he could. He held it towards the troll, and he said, "Do you see this stone?" "Yeah, I see that stone." And Jack, he squished the cheese as hard as he could, until all the whey poured through his fingers. "If you're not careful, I'll do the same to you." "Oh no, please don't squish me, I'll help you out." And the troll, he started to yank the trees out of the ground, snap them in half and half again. And Jack, he watched that troll do his work for him. Well, the hours went by and the sun began to set. And the troll, he'd finished the work and said to Jack, "Listen, why don't you come back tomorrow for some porridge?" Now, for 1 second, don't believe that the troll was a nice troll. No such thing as nice trolls. He thought to himself, if he could not get Jack when he was awake, he would slay Jack when he was asleep. Well, Jack liked porridge. And so they both went up to that cave. And when they got there, it was the darkest, the dankest, the foulest place Jack had ever been. It smelt of bounced, and he couldn't even see his hand in front of his face. But then the cave shone. For as the troll lit a match, and then a candle, Jack saw littered everywhere golden coins. And not just golden coins, silver crowns, emeralds, diamonds, necklaces, the lot. Well, the porridge was nearly ready, and the troll, he poured a bowl for himself, and he poured a bowl for Jack, and they both began to tuck in. And Jack, well, looking at this treasure, he thought of a way that he could get himself that treasure. So he got his knapsack, and he tucked it under his shirt, wrapped it around his neck, and he said to the troll, "You any good at eating?"
Yeah, I'm good at eating."
"I could beat you."
"No, God."
"The person to get most amount of porridge down their mouth is the winner." And the troll, he began to guzzle that porridge as fast as he could. And Jack, with every spoonful he took, he would put it into the knapsack. And as the sack got bigger and bigger and bigger, Jack said, "Oh, blimey, I'm full. I can't eat any more." The troll rejoiced in his victory. Well, it was at this point that Jack picked up a knife, thrusted it into the knapsack, cutting it open and letting all the porridge pour out. He placed the knife back in front of the troll, said to himself, "Oh, that's much better, I can eat a lot more now." And he began to tuck in. The troll, amazed at what he saw, well, he had to ask,
"How do you do that?"
"Well, you saw how I did it."
"Well, I don't know."
"I am winning." Well, the troll, he didn't want to lose, so he picked up that knife as fast as he could. He thrusted it deep into his... And with that terrible sigh, the troll was never heard of again.